Hello everyone, True Zero Emissions here. Okay, so I just came back from a couple hour ride with lots of high speed and also some cruising speeds as well. I will tell you that the Wolfbox did very well. It's turned off now, but the Wolfbox rear view night vision camera worked very, very well, and it helped me to see behind me at all times. I could just glance down at the screen and I could see everything behind me. It was perfect. So instead of looking into a mirror that has just a certain area, right? A mirror just shows a little specific area and I have to choose where I want to look. And then I can come over to this mirror and it's the same thing. I can choose where I can see, right? This shows me everything behind me. It's a wide angle. So it shows like really wide. Wide angle means it shows like this lens can see way over here, like all this, right? Okay, and then the front lens does the same thing, but that's for just recording activity in front of the scooter. So if a car pulls in front or cuts off the scooter or anything like that happens, or if a car hits the scooter, that'll be recorded. And it's very super high quality, so it'll show all the data, all the information, very good. So that's just good to have. And the reason I originally bought the Wolfbox was, well, I had one in my car for over a year and it worked very well. I thought, I need this in the scooter. And guess what? They were on sale. Couldn't believe it. And the price, I think, has come down from the time that the first Wolfbox was purchased. I know that the first one for my car was a gift, but I know that they were higher priced back then. So I think the price has come down, which is wonderful in a time period when prices are going up on everything, especially gasoline. How about this? Imagine going hundreds of miles for pennies. That's what it costs to run the scooter. Just pennies. Maintenance is almost zero. I'm going to tell you some things about the scooter that I learned. So this is the Wolf King GTR, and we can see I have the battery down to 4%. I had it to 0, but I charged it on the way here, and some of you saw those videos, and that's because I was riding it fast, and that brought the value back down quickly. How fast did it say I go? Did it say I went 180 miles per hour? That's pretty fast. So anyway, the bags worked really good, very well. Held the charger perfectly. This one held the batteries very well for the LEDs in here, and then the battery for the Wolfbox in here. Now, I did notice, I'm now charging this now, and I noticed that if you see here, it was down to 1 bar, right? It had 1 bar left. That means if I'm going to be riding all day, that will not last on the Wolfbox. So the Wolfbox taking more energy, I'm going to need a larger battery for the Wolfbox. So I did notice that what am I thinking of those names of those that have really big battery capacity? I think it's the ones that can jump start the car. They have some small ones. Now, I'm not talking about having a lot of extra things on it. I just want something that can, maybe it has the ability to jumpstart the car, because that's going to require a large capacity battery, right? And have some plugs on it, like USB-C, a few of those, and all the different plugs, or the popular ones, but mainly USB-C, right? Because that's what this is. This requires USB-C. That's what this takes to be powered. So I unplugged the USB-C cord here. This is the one that was plugged into it that goes to the Wolfbox, and I used this one. Now this came with a different one. It came with one. I just put this one on there because the one it came with, I think it went straight in like this, and I had an angled one which I preferred to use, so that's why that's there. And so I'm charging it now. I'm charging that battery now, but I'm going to look for something much larger capacity than this little one that's in there right now. This is just the battery that's in there is very small. I can show you with the flashlight approximately the size. You see that one there? Now when I say very small, I should show you the milliamp hour, because if you're going to be doing this yourself, we want you to be able to have more time that it's going to be able to make a video, right? Or be able to record. Okay, I'm trying to get the phone to zoom in. So this says for capacity, it says If I can get this to focus. There it is. 38,800 milliamp hours. That's the capacity, okay? It can charge with the solar at 360 milliamps, but we're not solar charging. It's put away, so it's not solar charging. But I'm going to need something, I would say something maybe 6 times bigger than this. So 38,000 milliamp hours, 38,800 milliamp hours. I would say at least 6 times bigger, maybe 10 times more capacity than that. I'll have to calculate what that is. Like I want to convert that into amp hours. And at the moment, I'm not thinking of what that is. I will have to translate that. But just considering that I rode the scooter for a few hours, I don't know if it was 2 or 3 hours, and the battery had 1 bar out of, is it 4? Let's see how many bars it has there. Yeah, 4 total, 4 altogether, right? So, and it used 3. So that's, if I'm going to ride all day, that I don't want that battery depleting on me. The other option is I could use a transformer. Let me think about this. I could use a transformer and step down the large battery voltage, right? That way, I won't have to worry about it. But I'll think about that, and I'll keep you posted on what I decide on that. The LEDs are working great. They don't seem to take much power at all. I don't even know if the voltage changed on these batteries. I'll have to check it. But the LEDs, these are Chinese LEDs. Highly recommend those. I'm using them with great success. Everyone loves it, especially children. They see this thing and they go, "That's so cool! Hi, hi!" They're so happy, and the parents are happy. They're saying hi. Everybody's saying hi. And I was actually riding the scooter with the headlight off and just with that light on. Now, if I can get some lights in the front, that'll help light up the front too. I won't need to use these. These are too bright for people and their eyes. Some people cover their eyes. I understand. You know, this is for when I'm not around people, right? This is kind of like honking the horn at someone in a way, right? We don't want to use the horn. We want to use a bell for people, right? We want to use the bell. That's for people, okay? The horn is not for people, and the lights are not for people, right? We don't want to make it hard for people to see, because I'm on the bike path, and you know, a lot of people walk on the bike path. And then there's also a place next to the bike path for people to walk. People tend to walk on the bike path though. But either way, even if they're walking on the walking side, they're still going to get the headlights in their eyes, because the light is a wide spectrum. I mean, it's a wide, the light covers a large area, like a wide angle, right? Okay, so I'm going to make a separate video that goes into the charging process, because we're going to go ahead and charge this now. How does that sound? Does that sound exciting? We're going to charge this scooter with the Roger charger. I absolutely love the Roger charger. Now, I know there's others out there. Roger charger, I think, is around 2,000 watts. I know they have like 3,000 watt chargers on Alibaba. And they have, I can't think of the name at the moment. Is it GTK? I'm not sure if it's GTK, but there's another company out there that people are talking about. And that one looks similar to the Roger charger, except it doesn't have a dial. It doesn't appear to have a dial for the amps. You just use a small screwdriver. And in a way that makes sense, because once the voltage is, I'm sorry, did I say that right? No, I think it's for the voltage. I think it has a dial for the amperage, but the voltage has there's a screw, and you put a little screwdriver in there and you turn it. Now, the reason that makes sense to me, now that I'm using the Roger charger more and I'm understanding more, once the voltage is set for a particular battery, it appears to just leave it there. Never touch. You don't have to touch it again. It just leave it there, right? So I'm charging this scooter with the voltage set at 85 volts, and the battery's an 84 volt battery. That's how I'm charging this, because the example that Roger gave in one of his videos was, he said if you have a 100 volt battery, you'll set the charger to 101 volts. Okay, 101. Now, please confirm that for yourself. I don't want anyone ruining their battery. Do your own research, confirm for yourself what the right voltage to set your battery at is. So I'm charging this one at 85 volts right now, and and then I unplug it when it gets close to being completely full. I'm not even leaving it on there, so there's no reason to top it all the way off, you know. But I know the batteries need to be balanced, and that might be what I do this time. I might leave the power at a really low, like 1 amp. Once it's almost full, just turn it really, really low and just let it charge like that, and actually turn the voltage down maybe to 84 and see if it'll charge when it's at 84, because I don't know if it has to be 1 volt over. You know, like when I look at the original chargers, say 84 volts, right? And when I check, I have to check that with a meter though. I could plug that in and check this with a meter and see if it's 84 volts exactly, right? What a lot of people are saying about chargers is that a charger can say that it's 2 amps. Now, I'm not talking about these chargers. I'm just saying chargers in general, okay? That a lot of people will measure, you know, they'll get a high-power charger, like a 5 amp charger or 8 amp charger, and they're finding out they're not getting that amperage from the charger. Now, that's one thing I really like about the Roger charger is the amps is in my hands. I turn the amps where I want them. If I want 4 amps, I put it at 4 amps. If I want 5 amps, I set it to 5 amps. If I want 10 amps, I set it to 10 amps. And on this scooter, which is the Wolf King GTR, we know right in the book here, because this is called, what's this called? It's called the user manual for the Wolf King GTR, right? This is the book for the scooter. Now look what it says inside here on page 19, Wolf King GTR user manual. Now right up here, look at this. Now if we look at the charging time of the chargers it comes with, which is 2 amps times 2, it's about 8.5 hours. Now down here it says use 5 amps times 2, about 3.5 hours. Alright, customers are required to purchase 84 volt 5 amp chargers. So that wasn't available yet. I know those are coming soon. They're in the works and they're coming soon. They could be here anytime, but maybe a couple months, a month or two. I'm just approximating that. I don't know. The best thing to do is call Vora Motors, write Cabo directly. You can write and then talk to Vora Motors. Stay in communication with them. I always say build a relationship with Vora Motors. That's the headquarters, Panorama City, California. That's the place to go. When I'm riding the scooter, I always tell people, you know, oh, can I ride it? Can this and this? Go to Vora Motors. You can test ride those, and they get real happy, right? Because they want to ride this. They're afraid to ask, but they're asking, and then I don't want to feel bad telling them, you know, no, I don't want to say no to someone, but I know they're just excited, right? But I can't risk someone crashing. It happens all the time. There's stories on the internet where people let someone ride their scooter, and I don't know how it happens, but they'll crash. And scooters are easy to crash on. They're very easy to crash on. So if you're not riding a scooter every day, let's say a person rode motorcycles, but they jump on the scooter. It's a totally different feel. You know, just because a person rides motorcycles, that will translate in many ways. The way you study the terrain, the way you study the ground, the way you're always looking around you, and, you know, scanning, they call it, scanning everything, front and back, right? Scanning everywhere and studying the terrain. That translates, but the way the scooter feels, the fact that the tires are so small compared to a motorcycle or bicycle or electric bicycle or electric motorcycle, it's so much smaller that makes a significant difference when you hit bumps in the road or potholes. I mean, this whole wheel could disappear in some of the potholes out there. I saw a pothole that was 2 feet deep. I mean, a car could get stuck in there. That could just tear the wheel right off, tear the axle off, right? Can't believe some of the holes I see in the road sometimes. So, you know, I do recommend anyone that has a scooter, if you have someone asking you to ride it, it's your choice, but it's always good to wear a helmet. So, you know, I recommend anyone testing one of these wearing a helmet if you're letting someone ride your scooter. But also you have the option of taking your friend, family, or anyone you want to down to Voro Motors, make an appointment with them, schedule a test ride, or just drop in. If you don't have time, it's your lunch break, you could probably run down there and see if you can go on a test ride as well. Now, my understanding is that Voro Motors might be short-staffed on the weekends, so weekdays are great to go, but still weekends can get busy, and you can still get what you need on the weekend. But just try to plan ahead, schedule ahead if you can, and work with them. It's amazing because Voro Motors is like, it's such a rarity to have such a great place so close to home, which I have that. And they are doing something that's, to me, brand new. They're offering micromobility, and I feel like this is like a new part of transportation. It's something new. It's micromobility, and it's big. I just see it. There's so much momentum and so much inertia that is behind the support of this. Now, yeah, when you watch the news and you hear people complaining, that's not the whole story, okay? I don't know why the news seems to focus on negative so much. I always tell people that talk about the electric vehicle fires and things like that, yeah, okay, I understand, but if that was a gas car on fire, it's so much more dangerous with the fuel leaking everywhere, right? I mean, it's hard to compare the two, but it's just, we're transitioning to electric. Everything's transitioning. There's a reason that gasoline-powered cars are being outlawed in California soon, right? That's coming up. And even if it's just a few years away, it's still coming. It's there, right? So is gasoline a good investment? A good gasoline car? I don't think it is. And they're just so inefficient, right? They're just so inefficient. And electric's so much more efficient, right? It's like the inverse, right? So electric, you have 88% or greater efficiency, which is the energy in the batteries going to moving the vehicle. Whereas the gasoline, petrol-powered vehicles have, they have, about 88% inefficiency, right? 88% inefficiency. Definitely 60% inefficiency, like everybody agrees on that. 60% waste. I mean, it's a waste machine, right? It's just waste energy. So when Toyota's talking about, and I'm not even sure it's Toyota saying this, but there's a video, and it says, Toyota is making something that was going to compete with electric vehicles. I can't see any combustion engine competing with electric, because combustion, even if you're powering it with just water, for example, which is what gasoline is, you can't change the efficiency of that, right? It's still going to be mostly heat and waste going there. And so with electric, it's just going to keep improving. We're at like in the 90s of percent efficiency, right? Of translating that energy into kinetic energy, translating that battery energy into energy that moves the vehicle, right? So these things, these micromobilities are so super efficient. It's just amazing. So on this scooter, going back to the scooter, the ride was really good. It was a great ride. I loved the riser, the step up, the 2.2 inch handlebar step up. It makes it perfect now. I feel perfect. It's perfect. And I found a solution. I think I have a solution for the one thing that I was frustrated with the scooter. I was frustrated with the what I'll call the non-aggressive, the very soft and subtle regenerative braking. It was so soft. I like regenerative braking to be on the highest setting. When I touch that brake lever, I want the wheels almost skidding to a stop. And you know what? The Wolf King GT Pro did that. That thing used to almost skid to a stop. It wouldn't skid, but it would like chirp, chirp, chirp. It was like grabbing and then releasing, grabbing, releasing. I loved that. In fact, I want to get another Wolf King GT Pro just to have that and this, because I like them both. So, but if I had to choose between one, I would choose this if I had a choice between one. But if I can have both, then I think they both are a lot of fun. I'll have to do something with the kickstand though, because my leg finally healed here for the first time, because it's been a couple weeks since I've ridden the Wolf King GT Pro, and it gave a chance for my leg to heal. It never had a chance to heal before, even though I had grinded smooth the metal on the kickstand, and I also added like rubber hose, you know, to make it softer, and I did all these things to the kickstand. It still would bump that area on my leg, and it just wasn't letting it heal. I would just kind of like kept re-injuring it, and that hurt a lot. Now I did see a picture on Alibaba. I saw a picture of a kickstand on a Wolf King GT Pro that looked like it dropped straight down, which is kind of like, I think, what this one's doing. Yeah, you see this one on the Wolf King GTR is dropping down. It doesn't stick out here. So that does not hit my leg. They did a beautiful job on this, the designers of this. I mean, this scooter is just a masterpiece. But when I ride, I love aggressive regenerative braking, very strong regenerative braking. And this just has the softest regenerative braking. When I have it on level 5, okay? And I'm going to tell you the solution I think I found for this. So I have it on level 5. Now, there's a couple different things, and I'm going to show you on the menu. We're going to go ahead and go through the menu right now. And I'm going to show you something. So I'm going to power this up, and I'm going to show you something. I shot a video that's going to take like days to upload, because I shot a video in 4K, I think it's called. And I just wanted to see what would happen, and apparently it takes much longer to load. So okay, we're in the menu. Let's go. Okay, so there's a couple different things. There's hang on, let me go to advanced. It might be in here. It may be in the advanced area. Yeah, it's in here. So see the ABS? Now there's two different, as I understand it, and confirm this for yourself, because I'm still learning it as well, there's two different ways to adjust the electronic brakes, what I'll call it. I'll call it the electronic brakes, which is when I pull the brake lever, you see that brake light come on? Okay? So when that brake light comes on, there's a sensor in here. There's a wire. You see the wire that goes into here? There's a wire right here that goes into here, and when I pull the brake lever right there, so I'm going to show you where that is. You can see it. You can see my hand. Watch this. Right there. When that light comes on, the electronic braking, if it's turned to, if we have the ABS turned on, if we have that ABS, that's going to make it go right? That's going to make it do that. But there's another setting, which if that's off, okay, if the ABS is off, which I think stands for analog braking system, anti-lock braking system, if that were off, let's go to this. Now all these have the option. I'm just going to go to level 1 because it's nearest. You see how I have, even though it's on level 1, I have the E ABS. Is that what that says? Yes. So there's ABS and there's EABS. What's the difference? Well, see, notice I have it on 5. So this one, EABS, doesn't go dat. It's just smooth. It's a smooth slowing down. It's where your whole motor becomes a generator, and it's charging the battery. And because it's charging the battery in what I'll call the classical or traditional, way of doing it, it slows the motor down, because there's other ways to do it, right? We could pulse it, right? We could pulse it. Now the pulsing I'm talking about is different, because this thing on the other setting where it goes see that kind of pulsing, it's still creating drag. There's a way to pulse something before it does the drag, before it slows it down. We can pulse something faster than that. So that's a different way of charging as I understand it. But right now I'm just going to focus on these two different kinds of electronic brakes, what I'll call them, okay? So I have this on level 5, as you can see, and all of the different speeds, because this is the first So I'm going to exit. See, that's level 1 through 5. 5 is like where the parameters are all higher, right? That's the default, at least. Like what I'm talking about is, it says speed limitation 13%, acceleration, front motor acceleration, rear motor acceleration, level 2. See all this? This is all can be adjusted. Rear motor and front motor limited, I think, the amps, so it's not full amps. It's not 50. It's like, what is it? It's not 50, but it's, is it 18? Yeah, so it's less, right? And then as we go up in number here, it just naturally progresses up until this one is the maximum. So if you want to go super fast, the speed limitation is 100%, meaning there's no limit. The brakes automatically the strongest. The current is at 50 amps. Now on the Wolf King GT Pro, something I saw that was interesting was that this could go up to 60. This stops at 50 on this one, but let me tell you something, this scooter is faster. So this is a whole different machine here. And I left them at 50. I saw it go up to 60, but I put it back to 50 on the other scooter, on the Wolf King GT Pro. I put it back to 50 because it was more than enough for that. But I'm certainly not going to slow this scooter down. So when we have the brake setting here, let me see if I can explain this to you. I have this on level 5, right? Now on the same setting here, level 5, okay, the same setting. And remember, to save these, you always have to exit out of everything all the way to the home screen. Otherwise, it doesn't save. That's what I was told. You have to exit all the way out to save things. So if you change anything, make sure you go to the exit all the way out. So see this ABS? So usually I have that off, right? And then I exit. And I have the other one that I showed you on level 5. And what that'll do is give me a smooth stopping, but very quick. Like, it's not going to go da-da-da-da-da. It's not going to do that. The da-da-da-da, that is the ABS here. Okay, that's that one. So that's just an on or off switch, either on or off. It's either off, so it either goes, it's either off or it's on. And if it's on, it goes da-da-da-da. Now, so what I was saying about the solution is, because what I'm noticing is, now I prefer smooth and strong. When I say smooth, I just mean not pulsing. I just want it to be very powerful where the scooter's stopping as fast as it can. That's my favorite electronic braking, okay? And I feel like I would go to extremes to have that. I mean, if I could change the controller on this, I almost would be willing to do that. But that doesn't make sense because this controller is so good and it's so powerful. And I just hope that that's something they can make better, is the power. I'll call it the aggressiveness, the responsiveness of the electronic brakes. And I'm not talking about the pulsing. I'm talking about just the powerful, smooth electronic brakes where it stops really quick. Now, with it on level 5, right, which is the strongest setting, level 5 of the electronic braking, right, and then turning on the ABS, the analog braking system, turning that on, I noticed that, so now I'm going to turn this on, I noticed that at low speed, it does actually stop better than if I have that turned off, even at level 5. So that's what I'm going to try doing now, is I'm going to try riding the scooter with it pulsing like that. I don't prefer it, but maybe I'll get used to it, you know, because what I noticed is no matter what speed I'm going at, I could be going at 1 mile, I could be just barely moving. If I touch the brake lever enough to make the brake light come on, right? Just enough to let the scooter know I'm stopping, but not enough to compress the hydraulic fluid. I'm just touching it enough for the switch to be activated, right? On the brake lever. It'll start pulsing right away. It goes, and it's strong. It's actually a strong pulse. And I might be able to even show you right now. Let's see if I can show you right now in a short area. Yeah, see that? Tell me if you hear that. It does it forward and backward. So, I don't know if you can hear that, but it's working even at the lowest speed. Now, I would have preferred that it not go dut, 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 but just be really a strong magnetic friction, I'll call it, where it just wants to stop the scooter with the, with the magnets and with the strong magnetic field. I'll call it that. I don't know how to describe what's taking place, but I'll call it the strong magnetic field that the coils can create, the magnetic friction that coils can create with interacting with the magnets, right? Because I think that's what's taking place, is some kind of interaction there. So that's my preference, but because it doesn't have that right now, maybe maybe as these continue to come out, that'll be something that's adjusted or changed. And believe me, I'll be getting that one, even if it has the same name scooter and everything, like V2 or something, version 2 or something. I don't know, because like I said, you know how much I love that kind of braking. And even beyond that, if they can have a setting in there, and Cabo, please do this if you're watching this video. And I'll write you as well. I write Cabo, and they got back to me the first time. The second time, they didn't get back to me, so I don't know what that means, but I'll be patient with them. Plus, I bought this at Voro Motors, so I'll just communicate with Voro. But they've already told me they've already given me, shared their thoughts with me on this. So, but I want to talk to Cabo directly as well. So my favorite kind of braking, in addition to what I just told you, is when I let off the accelerator. Now, most people probably would hate this, right? I think it would cause a lot of crashes, but I would absolutely love this. And the Segway GT2 had this, and I think they took it off, and I'm not sure if that's because people were crashing and complaining about it or what the reason was. I don't know what the reason was. Maybe they're just perfecting it still. But it was amazing, because what happened is, like an electric car that has one pedal driving, where you let off the accelerator, when you let off the accelerator, the car just slows down without having to touch the other pedal. You don't have to touch the brake pedal. When you let off, it just stops the car. No matter what speed you're going, it'll slow the car down really quick. And you can choose how fast it does that. I want electric scooters to have that. I want micromobility to have that as an option, as a setting that can be set. Because I would be so happy to be able to ride that way. Imagine never having to reach for that brake lever at all, right? Never having to reach for it. Look at the time it takes, right? In 1 second, so much happens. I mean, people find themselves on the ground in a second. Everything fine, everything normal, and next thing you know, they're on the ground in a second. That happened in 1 second. So there's not always time to grab the lever, but letting off the accelerator, whatever that is, and the scooter coming to a quick stop per the speed that is the preference of the person riding the scooter. I think that's a great feature, if I call it that. I'm not sure what else to call it. A great ability, a great capacity, a great thing to have as an option. Not I wouldn't ship it with that turned on, but maybe you have to do something special in the program, in the menu, to make that turn on, where you can't accidentally turn it on, and then choose how strong it is, like levels 1 through 5, right? So 5 is when you let off the accelerator, it stops absolutely as fast as it can without skidding the tires all the way, or it does skid a little bit, right? It's almost locking up the wheels. And then setting 1 would be you don't even feel anything, like you almost don't feel it. And then if there was a setting 0, that would be just completely turned off, if that was even needed, because 1 might just be enough where you don't even feel anything. So that's just my preference. But for now, I'm going to ride the scooter with that ABS turned on where it pulses, and at level 5, which is going to be the strongest pulsing, right? Those are going to work together. It's going to be a strong regenerative braking and pulsing at also, right? So if I turned the 5 down to a 1 and had the ABS turned on where it pulses, I imagine the pulsing might not be as strong. I haven't tested that, but I imagine that it probably would be less strong, because that's what that does. That's what the numbers do, the 1 through 5, right? And I'm talking about the 1 through 5 on the, specifically on the regenerative braking, right? So, okay, everyone, so the next video is going to be hypercharging with the Roger charger. I'm so excited. I'm going to go ahead and use the meter. We're going to use the meter right there. We're going to use this meter. And this one lights up. I recommend that one. It lights up. Hi, everyone. This one lights up here, and you can see the screen better. I really like these very much. I have several of those. As you can see, there's one there, and there's a whole drawer of them up here. I think I'll see kilowatt meters, kWh meters, and this is how many I got all together. Let's see, 3, 4, 5, and there might have been more actually. That might just be all that fit in there. Let's see. Is there any more in there? No. Any more? No. Okay. Well, 5's a good number, right? Yeah, 5's a good number. So anyway, we'll see you soon with the with charging. And I think that was all there was to say about the scooter. I can't even explain to you. I'm gonna make a lot more videos. I'm gonna make like 100 review videos on the scooter. I cannot tell you how beautiful the scooter rides. It's the ultimate scooter. I cannot believe it. Now, one thing I'm frustrated with, this has nothing to do with anything, but I'm just going to say it. On the bike path, there'll be these spider webs, right? And there'll be a spider just hanging there with his, like their legs reached, like their arms reached out. And I'm like, look at these guys. They just want to they're just like hitchhiking, right? They want to jump on anybody that cruises on by. So luckily my headlight's so bright that I can see those bugs hanging down from the trees. You know, I always like trees and shade, but I don't like spiders. Yeah, I don't like spiders that much. I definitely don't want them crawling around the scooter and things like that. I actually got bit by a spider between two of my fingers when I was at the beach and I went to the restroom that was dark. I couldn't see anything, and I must have touched the spider web, and a spider was between my two fingers. So when I left the restroom and I rubbed my finger like this, the spider bit me like 6 times between my two fingers because I think it thought I was attacking it. And then I just shook my hand and he got away. But luckily it must have not been poisonous because it didn't leave nothing there. It was just a little bit red, very little red, but then it went away. But it hurt when it bit. So I'm glad it wasn't poisonous though. But yeah, so the bike paths can have spiders hanging down. Big ones, like with the legs out and everything, because the center part's not that big, right? It's like probably the size of like my pinky nail, but with the legs, they can be all together. It can be like that big, right? But I don't think anybody wants a spider on them. And I'm just like, how do we get the spiders to not be hanging down from the trees like that? But also the trees seem to me need to be trimmed. I'm noticing the bike paths don't look like they're getting maintained, and I'm really surprised by that. So maybe we can make some videos to help support and motivate some of the public. Any of you that may want to make some phone calls and just say, hey, can you guys get these bike paths maintained? With a couple phone calls, maybe they'll get things going for us. Because I know a lot of you guys take those bike paths. I see you guys riding on those bike paths on your scooters and things. A lot of people that are pretty famous on YouTube. And I think we all wave to each other. So anyway, I want to thank all of you guys for watching my video. And just to tell you that the Wolf King GTR, I'm super happy with it. And like I was saying, with the regenerative braking set to the pulsing, I rode it that way today. I switched it over, and it seemed good. I did it at the end of the ride. So I'll do some more riding on it and see how I like that. But it does seem like it's going to be a solution, because if I don't turn that on, then like I was saying before, at low speed, like under 20 miles an hour, the regen doesn't even activate. It just doesn't do anything. And then I'm just using my friction brakes, which I know those pads are so tiny. I don't really want to be relying on the friction brakes. If I was going to do that, then I'd probably want to get some like, actually either some really good brakes. There's some really good ones out there, but then they were telling me that on those good brakes, the really good ones, that I can't use the regenerative braking system at all. And I said, oh, I definitely don't want to do that. But I do wonder if I could, I mean, I like modifying things, but I do wonder if I could put a larger, like a motorcycle kind of caliper on here, somehow. And this is just a thought experiment. I don't know if I'll actually do that, but if there was a way to put like a larger brake pad, something that allowed for more surface area to touch this, right? But like I'm saying, no matter how big of a brake pad I use, even if it's a motorcycle caliper and brake pads, right, big ones, nothing compares to having your whole motor be a brake, right? A magnetic brake. Magnets are so powerful. And when you turn the whole wheel into a brake by using the electronic regenerative braking, that's my favorite brake. It's my favorite. And it adds a little power to the battery, but that's not the reason I like it so much, because it only adds between 1% and up to 10% from what I've read. But that can save someone walking a few blocks if their battery was depleted all the way. So that could make a difference there. But okay, everyone, we'll see you in the next video, and we'll go ahead and charge the scooter up. I don't think there was anything else to say. I really enjoyed the ride. This scooter is just so smooth and so nice to ride. And my two favorite scooters right now are the Wolf King GTR and the Wolf King GT Pro. That's a favorite still, because I love both scooters. They're both very, very good. But this one is definitely next level. It's hard to describe how amazing the suspension is. Now, there are some photos that, for some reason, make the back look awkwardly high. It could just seem like, oh my gosh, that's so high, right? It can just seem awkwardly high. I don't know how else to describe it. But let me tell you something. Those photos, they have no, in my experience, they represent in no way the comfort of riding this scooter. I thought I was going to have to reach up too high to get on, to be, when I stop, every time I stop at a light or something, I thought, oh, I'm going to dread stopping and having to move my leg, and go all the way up here each time I get on the scooter and go like this every single time. And you know what? I don't notice it at all. And I don't know if that's because I came from the Wolf King GT Pro before this, even though this is taller than that. I don't know if the Wolf King GT Pro is considered a tall scooter or not. I don't actually know right now if it's considered to be tall. But if it is, that must be what prepared me for this. All I know is this does not seem tall to me at all. I don't even think twice about it at all, ever. When I'm riding it, I never think, oh, that's so tall. When I first rode it, I was just getting used to riding a new scooter, and I was just, making sure that I put my feet in a comfortable place and getting used to everything. But it did not seem awkwardly tall to me at all. So, like that one picture where it makes these shocks look like they're really high, they're like it's funny. And I thought to myself, oh no, I'm not going to be able to ride that scooter. I'm not going to be comfortable on it. But I know better than to judge something before experiencing it. I know better. That's a universal truth in life. So I said, I'm going to try the scooter first and see how I like it. And you know what? I love it. So if you're not sure if you want this scooter or not, and you think you might want it, my recommendation would be go down to Vora Motors and test ride it as soon as you can. You can test ride that scooter every single day. You could test ride it once a week. You could test ride it once a month. You could test ride it probably a couple times a day if you wanted to. Do your research. Get the scooter you really want. If it's not this one, get what you want. That's all I'm happy if you're happy. I want you to get what you want, but I want one thing though. I want you to be aware of what happens when you go fast on a scooter. I have experienced what I'll call the instability of the other kind of suspension that goes back and then forward, which some really high-end scooters have that cost even more than this one. Some scooters like the Nami Bernie Viper. I owned that scooter for a long time, and I never could figure out what felt wrong about the front end. I go, what feels wrong about this? And I'm told it was because it has that suspension called the C suspension, where it goes like this. Some people call it Pac-Man, right? But I'm told you can turn that around, and it makes a significant difference in the stability and the feel of it, right? So if you turn that suspension around so that it goes like this, right? Now it's when a bump hits, it causes the wheel to go this way, right? Instead of when you hit a bump, it goes like this, right? So, and I think they make a scooter. There's some scooters that are made that come that way. There's also people putting these front ends on the Nami Bernie Viper. I've heard of that. And I don't know if a front end like this could be put on a Dualtron or not. I mean, anything could be done, even if it had to be like welded and stuff. But here's the thing. I'm not in a place where I want to be mix matching things like that. I don't want to do that. I want to buy something the way that it was made to be, right? This scooter comes very stable. When I say stable, there's two kinds of stability. Now with the Dualtron, some people talk about the stem being, when they say a wobbly stem, that flex it has, okay? Yes, that's a separate thing. I'm not talking about that with this. This doesn't have that flex, by the way. It doesn't have that. Whether someone likes it or not, I like this. I like it. I like this being solid the way it is. A little bit of flex is okay with me, but what's not okay with me, and this is what I'm talking about when I say stable at high speeds, what's not okay with me is the way that I felt when I rode my Dualtrons, which is like the Dualtron Storm or the Dualtron Thunder, which at low speeds I love them, but those scooters are fun to go fast on, right? I want to go fast on them sometimes, but what happens when I go fast? It would feel unstable. I'm not talking about the stem feeling like it's moving like that. That's not what I'm talking about. It might move, and it did. That's not what was bothering me that much, right? What really bothered me was that the feeling of the way the suspension felt, the way that the wheel felt like it felt unstable. I don't know how else to explain it. It felt like I was going to get speed wobbles, like it felt like it was going to speed wobbles. Look up speed wobbles for street bikes, like street bike speed wobbles, and you'll see the tire bouncing back and forth like that. And the person can't hold the wheel straight, right? And then sometimes people crash, and sometimes they don't. Now, I've had that happen on a street bike before, and it's really, really scary when it happens. It's really scary. I think anybody will tell you that. No one wants that to happen to them. So now on the Dualtron scooter, I had the scooter begin to do that. On the Nami Bernie Viper, I felt it begin to do that. It was trying to, like, I don't know if we call it float, where it's trying to do this. Now, I had the best quality steering stabilizers on all of my scooters. This is the only scooter that I've never put a steering stabilizer on it because it doesn't need it. Does that even make sense? My brain doesn't know what to do with that. How could a scooter not have steering stabilization, go 70 miles an hour, and feel absolutely true and stable, like it just wants to go straight at no matter what speed I'm going? The Wolf King GT Pro, I could have that scooter at 65 miles an hour when the wind was helping, right? Because it'll do about 60 if there's no wind. And I felt like I was doing 35. It didn't feel like I was doing 65. And it felt like a stable 35. It felt smooth. It felt secure. I don't know how else to explain it, right? I didn't feel uneasiness. Same thing with this scooter. This scooter's next level. This Wolf King GTR, because of the suspension, the improved suspension. I was reading a comment where someone said, oh, they didn't even do anything to the Wolf King GTR. It's the same scooter. And I'm just thinking to myself, I don't know what that person's looking for in a scooter. Because if they're just looking at it, maybe that's what they're talking about. Oh, well, it looks so similar, right? If you read up on what's been done, they changed the controller. This controller is a monster. It looks like it could power an electric vehicle. I'm not kidding. It's huge. It's one massive big controller instead of two, what I'll call maybe medium-sized controllers, which were big. They were big, but they're not what's in there now. What's in there now is like, it looks larger than if you add the two that were in there before. It looks larger and it looks super high quality. I've seen a lot of controllers on electric vehicles and really high quality electric vehicle conversions. If you get involved with, I used to volunteer with Plug in America and the Electric Auto Association. I used to help them some time ago. But I'm naturally an advocate for the environment and for clean energy and clean tech. And I'm an advocate for learning and keeping an open mind, and not making fun of people, and not putting people down, and not putting ideas down. I'm about supporting my own growth and others' growth. I'm supportive to that. You know, some people will say that they're, well, let me just say it this way. Rick Friedrich once said that humans are very contradictory. It's true. That's just something that's built into us, but we can work on ourselves to be the best version of ourselves. That's kind of what I feel like I'm doing. I'm always trying to improve myself. So, like I say, this channel is a thought experiment. My life's a thought experiment, right? It's a very important one. It's important to me. And people are important to me. Relationships are important to me. Friendships are important to me. Community is important to me. Worldwide solution-oriented collaboration is important to me. Working together is important to me. It's like, what can we make today? I often will sign my writing at the bottom of writing something in my community, in the community area. I'll sign it by saying, what shall we make today? Because we can make anything. That's really true too. You know, when they say set your mind to it and you could do it, that's how the universe works. I mean, when we focus on something, things happen. You know, we're going to learn. So, wow, I almost stopped this video like 10 times and I keep going. But I think it's because I'm so excited. I just rode the scooter for a couple hours and I'm really excited by my experience. So I was looking for a charging station, a level 2 charging station. I wanted to make a video showing charging the scooter. The mistake I made was I waited till the battery was too low because I was just having so much fun riding. And next thing I know, you know, the battery's going down. It's at 0%. So I went to the police station where they had level 2 charging stations, but there was like 3 Teslas parked there, plugged in. They were using all the charging stations. And I'm just guessing that the police own Teslas, and a couple of the guys there own the Teslas, and they're charging their cars up, which is great. I'm certainly not going to unplug someone's car. That should never be done. So I just, I saw a couple what looked like outlets where you lift the thing up, and I thought there'd be a plug there, and it wasn't. It was just a switch. I'm just guessing that's like an emergency shut-off switch or something. But I was hoping there'd be some plugs there. It surprises me that charging stations don't have the 5-15 plug, which is the household plug, or a 220-volt plug, or some plugs. Even if you have to use an app to use those plugs, I just think there should be more plugs. It doesn't make sense to me why we don't have more plugs. And I think we all have to just ask for that. And it's asking the right people, and it's organizing, and it's voting for it, right? We have to vote for more plugs. Because surely the universe gives us all the energy we need. It gives us everything we need. But we have to plug into it, right? With our imaginations. That's what's needed. So, but I think things are going really well because there's a lot of support for charging stations to be built. I saw, you know, a few years ago, I saw there was grants and like literally, I don't know if it was cities or state or government or federal or what it was, but that, you know, if a business was willing to have a charging station put in on at their location, it looked like it would be paid for up to a certain amount of money, like $50,000 or $150,000. I was amazed by that. So everything's there. It's all there. It's just like the bike paths, right? I was speaking with Art, and Art was in one of my videos. If you guys saw me riding on the bike path one day, I was talking about my Wolf King GT Pro, and Art was speaking with me. And Art is very knowledgeable about the bike paths, and he was telling me that the money to have bike paths built everywhere, like networked everywhere, just everywhere, from, you know, the cities to the beaches to just cities to cities, connecting cities together, is there. The money's in the bank. We voted for it a long time ago, and the money's there, but nothing's being done. It's just sitting there. So my thoughts are, how do we find out who to ask to start using that money so we can, right, that's making jobs, right? If the money's sitting in the bank, but people need work and they want jobs, then they can just use the money to get these guys working and get people working and build these bike paths, and also maintain and repair the bike paths we have. Right now there's trees growing all over the bike paths, all of them. They're just like, the trees are just overgrowing way, like people can't even walk on the bike paths. You know, they're like putting their heads down and kneeling down and trying to avoid, you know, people can't even walk on them. And I'm just thinking to myself, what happened? So anyway, I'll find out more about that, and I'll keep you guys posted on that. We'll see if we can interview Art and talk with Art about this and see who we can ask to get these bike projects going, and also get the bike paths maintained better that we have, because there's also a lot of lights that are out on the bike paths where it's just like entire miles of bike path just have no lights. and it looks like something's being done, but it looks like a slow process where it looks like they're trying to figure out what's wrong with the wires or something, because it looks like they're cutting the cement. But I don't really know what's happening in the big picture, though, because I don't see them like really working on it too much at all, really. Okay, everyone, so we'll get to the next video and we'll get this charged up. And this has been almost an hour video, but that's my enthusiasm for the scooter. Just know that I'm super excited right now, because I just rode the Wolf King GTR for like a couple hours and I absolutely loved it. I love the tires. I love the size of the tires. I love the tire itself. And I love that it's a self-sealing, self-healing tire. And I'm going to say this again and again and again. If a tire says puncture-proof, puncture-resistant, can't puncture, all those things, when I look deeper into it, if it doesn't have self-sealing, self-healing, like a liner, I'll just call it a liner in there. It's not a liquid, okay? It's not a liquid. It's a liner that stays, it's very sticky. If it doesn't have that, then the tire can be punctured, right? It can be punctured, and if it does get punctured by a nail or a screw, it's going to leak, or it's going to leak when you pull it out, right? So that's why I like the self-sealing, self-healing tires. I know there's a tire out there that people say is super strong. It's like really expensive. I can't think of the name of it at the moment, and I don't think it has a self-sealing, self-healing liner in it, but I'll have to double check. It just has it's like some really strong material in there, which is great. But I would still prefer that same tire, that great tire. This is for bicycles, by the way, the one I'm talking about, this tire I'm talking about. I think it's like a 16-inch tire. I don't think they make one for the scooters yet, like I'm talking about, where it has like Kevlar and all these different materials, like metal liners in there and all kinds of stuff in there. But look, this is just a regular tire here, and it just has that self-sealing, self-healing liner in there, and I love it, right? It doesn't have like Kevlar and all the other stuff that I know of. I think it's just a nylon tire. I think it says it on the side, and I'm super happy with it. I haven't had one flat since I've been running these tires for a couple years now on different scooters, this scooter and the Wolf King GT Pro. I haven't had one flat. I pulled my Wolf King GT Pro, I pulled like 10 nails out of there, nails and screws, and no air was lost, none at all, because you take that screw out, as you're taking it out, the gel just squeezes together. It doesn't let any air escape. So I'm 100% in support of these tires that they're making for bicycles that have all these layers of protection, but I still want the self-sealing, self-healing liner in there. I still want that, and I want it to be thick too, like half-inch thick or however thick they're making it. If they doubled that, it would just be a plus to me. It would be extra great. But it just works. It works. And I know people that don't know about scooters, or they don't know about the tires, and they're just trusting they're going to get a good tire, but then they get flats and they feel frustrated. And some people just stop. They don't want to bother with scooters anymore. They just don't want to bother with it. They're tired of getting flats. I think it's really important that people know that there's no need to get a flat tire anymore. If you have to get a different scooter because your scooter doesn't have the option of the honeycomb, which is the cushiony solid tires. Honeycomb is a cushiony solid tire. I've ridden solid tires, solid rubber tires that had the honeycomb design that felt exactly the same ride quality, maybe a little bit better than an air tire. I have felt that. So if that kind of tire was made for this, I would run it. But meanwhile, these work great because they're self-sealing, self-healing, and they're very smooth on the road. So I love the suspension on this. I've never enjoyed a scooter as much as I enjoy the Wolf King GTR. This is the most joy I've had on a scooter. And I hope they make a seat for it soon, because I want to buy a seat for this. And my request on the seat would be that the seat can be adjusted to how close I could put it toward the handlebars. I want to choose I want it to be able to move forward and back, not just be stuck way back here or stuck here. I want to be able to move it where I choose, right? And also a seat that can hold 2 people would be nice, right? And I think being able to adjust the height is important too, because especially on the Wolf King GTR, where this part is so high from the ground. Now again, like I said, when I say that, it doesn't bother me at all. I'm just saying it is kind of high, right? It's kind of high up here. So if the seat's real high here, you know, we have to be able to still touch the ground. So the seat, I think being able to adjust how high the seat is would be an option, a good option too. And I love how the handlebars on this can be easily dropped down when you loosen this. Excuse me, when you loosen this, this can be easily adjusted down. When you loosen both this side and the other side, it can allow that to drop down, which lets the handlebars be lower when riding when sitting down. And I think it'd be a lot of fun if the scooters can start to have some, I think it's called fairings, like street bikes have a fairing, right? It has some kind of fairing on it. But different than a street bike, I'm talking about an enclosure, right? Some kind of enclosure where this can be enclosed from the weather. So if it's raining, I started to feel a little bit of rain when I was riding the scooter, and I thought, oh no, I have a dead battery, almost dead battery, and it's going to start raining right now. And I was a little bit concerned, but this has a good water resistance. I'm just going to use that word. You have to look at the numbers it has, the IPX, I think it's called. But they show a video where they throw water on it. That does not mean to go run it through the water, though. And read up on, you know, you're not supposed, I don't think you're supposed to be washing it with like a hose. I don't think you're supposed to do that. But I think you can definitely wash it with, like, wash it down with and scrub it, though. I think you could probably do that. But confirm this for yourself and check into it. Make sure you don't damage your scooter. I know when I bought the Wolf King, the gold Wolf King GT Pro, I could tell that scooter, and the guy even told me, I think he used to just hose it down and wash it. I don't know how he got so lucky. But that scooter had 2,000 miles on it, and he always fast charged it with a 5-amp charger. And the battery still had full capacity. That battery didn't lose any cycle life. You know, I was charging this scooter at a liquor store because I was looking for a place to charge, and I couldn't find a charging station where I was. So I asked the gentleman at the liquor store if I could charge there, and he allowed me to charge there, and we were talking, and he made a video of the scooter. He was so excited about it, and I told him to go to Vora Motors. They'll let you test ride the scooters, and they have all the scooters there. I said, you don't have to start with this. They have others, because he's like, this thing goes 70 miles an hour? Oh my gosh. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't have to start with that. You can start with something entry level, right? This is, I mean, I wouldn't recommend starting with this kind of scooter unless you have a lot of discipline and you can turn that power mode low and leave it there for like a year or two, you know. But you know, some people just want to go right for the top, so it's on an individual choice basis. But definitely wear gear and definitely be careful. Okay, everyone, I think we're going to get the next video started. I think I talked about everything I wanted to talk about. I am thinking about getting some kind of guards for the shocks here that somehow clamp on and then cover the front here. If like, let's say I'm following someone, right? Because, for example, Cameron and I go riding sometimes. Sometimes I go on group rides too. And if I'm behind someone and the rocks are coming up from the road and it hits this, I don't want this getting damaged, because this seals here, right? And it has oil inside there, right? I think there's oil in there, and there's a seal here. Now if this gets damaged, it's gonna not seal so well, right? I want this protected. I'm also thinking about putting like a sock over this, or just something I can put over this to keep dirt and dust off that. I want to keep that seal clean. That's just how I feel. Now I know motorcycles have like a boot there. I might be able to do that. I don't know how I'd get the boot on though. Well, I'm sure there's a way. This probably comes off. I think I saw a screw on the other side. I think I would take all this off, take this down, and then slide the boot up. That could be done as well. But I don't know if that's necessary. And maybe I can just put a sock on there and then sew it around there. You know, so like cut the sock, put it around it, and then sew it closed right there on it. Just do that. Just to keep the dust off it and also protect it from debris hitting it, right? That's one thing I'm thinking about. But both bags did very good. The charger bag was perfect. I do need a larger battery for the Wolf box. Like I was saying, I think I'm going to go with some kind of jump starter battery. Not a real big one. They have some small ones, but they have super powerful batteries in there. That could be more than enough than the Wolf box needs. I don't know yet, though. I have to just keep testing that and see. But everything went well with the wolf box. I had no trouble with it. I may not have to add anything else to this. Today, let me see. I don't know what speed the scooter says I did. I had it up to 180. I don't know why it says that. Maybe I did. Like I hit. Maybe I went through a wormhole or something. I mean, you saw it. It's there. You know, you saw it, right? I'm going to show you. I've never seen that before. There is amazing things that happen sometimes, and this might just be one of them. Because the scooter says I went to a maximum speed of 180 miles per hour, if I'm reading it correctly. So look at the bottom there. Do you see that? It says maximum miles per hour, 180 miles per hour. So I think that's warp drive right there for the scooter. So this scooter can do warp drive, right? That's faster than the speed of light. So really the speed of light's slow. We know that. We know the speed of light's slow. Don't forget, particle physics, everything in the entire known and unknown universe is interconnected instantaneously. So there is no space and time. These are just illusions. So, you know, miles per hour and speed of light is almost like the same thing. It's like, it's almost irrelevant, you know. What there really is instantaneousness, or instantaneity. Instantaneity, is that a word? It is now. That's what the whole dictionary is, according to that movie. I forgot the name of the movie, but they just basically collected words from around the world of people using words and studied what they meant by using that word, and that became the dictionary. And that's why words' meanings can change, right? As has been told to me by a teacher that's a English teacher that's also a writer, said that language is for the user. Never forget that. Language is for the user. That means, what does the word mean to you? And share that meaning, because that's what it means. Okay, everyone, see you in the next video.